Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, what a fantastic day. Today, I want to give you an introduction to research method lecture. And mind you, what I'm going to do today is to break it down to the simplest understanding to ensure that the least individual is able to understand the concept of research methods. Ladies and gentlemen. And I'll be taking you through concepts such as definition of research, that is the meaning of research. From there, we'll move on to the importance or the significance of research. After that, we'll move on to the ways of acquiring knowledge. And from there, we are going to look at the elements of a good research method, etc. Having gone through these topics, I believe they will lay a better foundation for us to understand about the concept of research. First, when they say research, what comes into your mind? Well, some people have been interpreting it differently. But one thing I want you to know today is that the concept of research can mean different things to different people. From a commonsensical perspective, when they say research, mostly people will say it is to find out. It has to do with investigation. It has to do with unearthing the unknown. It has to do with a lot of other concepts can be interpreted as research. Well, even with our phones, sometimes you go to Google and what we say search. We do research, etc. Most people have different ways they interpret it in their communities, in their settings, depending on the individual's perspective. Today we are going to take an academic perspective to understanding research. But before we go deep into the academic perspective, when we talk about research, to me, I interpret research, and several other scholars may also look at the concept of research to have been joined. Because when I look at read and I look at the word research, I think there are two words joined. And to search simply means to find out, to investigate, to look for something, etc. Anybody has his or her own meaning or interpretation about when you talk about search. And when you say to read, it simply means to do it again and again. See that? So research now is something that is systematic in nature. It's something that involves one doing it again and again. It's even, for example, I lost my mobile phone at home. Definitely, I'm looking for it. I will have to ensure that I look at every corner to ensure I see it, etc. That can also be referred to as finding something, which some people in the commonsensical thought can refer to as research. But in academic research, in actuality, what is research academically? What is academic research? Well, for this lecture, we are going to look at a very renowned scholar whose name is Professor Joe Eddy Ali. And for Professor Joe Eddy Ali, he said, in his book, a guide towards writing college papers in the humanities and social sciences. He asserted, according to Professor Joe Eddy Ali, research is any systematic investigation to establish new facts, solve new or existing problems, prove new ideas or develop new theories, usually using a particular methods. It is the disciplined process of investigating and seeking facts that will lead to discover the truth or additional information about something. Wow, he is one of the renowned scholars we have in this country. And from what Professor Joe Eddy Ali has asserted, I'm sure we are going to have a lot of concepts. We have a lot of researchers that I trust in this country. Not only Professor Joe Eddy Ali, we have light of Patrick H.H. Walker, a renowned scholar who has also his own perspective about research. But as we progress, you will see me quoting directly from him on what he said in his book, Foundations of Research. Ladies and gentlemen, as we progress, we are going to have more academic understanding today about what the concept of research is. However, that is what Joe Eddy Ali said about research. Let me repeat it again. He said, research, according to him, he said, research is any systematic investigation to establish new facts, solve new or existing problems, prove new ideas, or develop new theories, usually using a particular method or methods. It is the disciplined process of investigating and seeking facts that will lead to discover the truth or additional information about something. Now, I am going to take my time now to explain, to break this definition down so that at least we understand what research is. I am sure that understanding this definition alone will go a long way in helping individuals to really know what research is. When Professor Joedi Ali was giving his definition, there are key concepts he mentioned. What are these key concepts in his definition? He emphasized that systematic investigation. He said research is systematic investigation, any systematic investigation. When you talk about systematic investigation, what comes in your mind? It is a step-by-step process. It is not automatic. It has to go through procedures. It is something that you cannot wake overnight and do. It has to involve knowledge. It is procedural in nature. I don't know if somebody is understanding me. Let me give you a commonsensical understanding. Say, for example, I am going to visit somebody at Jui. I've never gone there before. I will start by asking the driver, can you please take me to Jui? Are you going? And then the driver, please drop me to Jui. And when he drops me, I begin to ask. I'm asking for one lady. She is black and tall. She is this, etc. You are asking, you are inquiring. But it has to go through steps. But that's not what we mean when it comes to research. I'm just giving you an example for you to understand. In research, it is systematic because it has steps. And as we proceed in our academic pursuit, we understand the systematic steps, the processes, the procedures that are involved in the process of research. And any researcher in this world that wants to undertake this endeavor must ensure that he follows the procedures, that he follows the steps, that he follows the systematic. It is systematic. You don't jump one step to go to the other. No! You will understand later what I'm trying to explain. But you do not jump one step to go to the other in research. It is something that one cannot just do because you want to do. No, it is systematic in nature. He also mentioned that about new facts. What was he saying? He said a systematic investigation to establish new facts. What was Professor Joedi Ali saying when he mentioned new facts? With investigation, you are going to understand things you never know of. You are going to unearth the unknown. You are going to know things that are new. You are going to ensure that the conclusions you are going to arrive at are things that are new to you. We are going to understand that very soon. Because of research, we now have a lot of inventions, new things. You see that? And we have got new knowledge about concepts. We have got new knowledge that we have never got before. Today, we have new theories. Today, we have new understandings about the perspective of the social world. You see? So, his definition emphasizes that investigation to establish new facts. That as we investigate, we are going to get new concepts. As we investigate, we are going to know the truth. As we investigate, we are going to have new concepts, new facts, new truth. See that? He did not stop there. He also, in his definition, mentioned about new theories. What are theories? Theories are statements of explanations. They are statements of explanation. Theories explain why and how something happened, the way it happened, and why it happened. A lot of theories. In fact, that is why we cannot do research without understanding theoretical perspectives. Because theories are also relevant to research. Theories are scholastic. Somebody else will come and then give his own theory. Research will prove whether that theory is correct or not. So if you want to prove whether what somebody has said is correct, the best way to do that is to do research. The best way to do that is to investigate. The best way to do that is to carry out scientific observation. The best way to do that is to carry out scientific research. Ladies and gentlemen. So, Professor Ali, when he mentioned about new theories, he meant that research can prove whether that theory is correct or not. Let me just give you an example. In the social work perspective, Sigmund Freud gave out a theory, and the theory is the psychosexual theory. And in the psychosexual theory, Freud mentioned that people have different stages in life to succeed. And that is, as they grow in the 5 stages, which he calls psychosexual, sexual satisfaction or pleasure is centered in various parts of the body. That was what he said in that theory. And for example, even from 0 to 12 months, those children, their own sexual satisfaction can be derived from the mouth. Which is why anything they take, they put it in their mouth. Because by putting it in their mouth, they derive sexual satisfaction. And they derive pleasure from breastfeeding. They derive pleasure from sucking their fingers. They derive pleasure from putting everything they took in their mouth. And they also asserted, and several other scholars who have analyzed this theory believe that what Freud said is correct. Individuals have to go through this stage. What he said was his own perspective. And his theory, the psychosexual theory, still stands the test of time. But do you want to prove that? If so, carry out a scientific research. Do your own research to know whether what he said about sexual satisfaction being centered in various parts of the body of the human being as he grew from 0 to adulthood, in his oral stage, the anal stage, that of the phallic stage, the latency, and that of the genital stage. If you want to prove what he said, carry out a scientific investigation. He also mentioned that about proof. I like that one, proof. How did he mention that? He said, solve new or existing problems, prove new ideas, or develop new theories. I like that. How can he prove? Somebody cannot just come from heaven and tell me that I saw Jesus Christ, he was, and you are living, you did not die, you have not died yet. I need to prove whether what he told me is correct or not. And the best way to do that is to carry out your research. So you see, that is why researchers, we don't believe in mere speculations. We don't believe in mere assumptions. We don't believe in mere things that people just say like that. We believe in reality. We believe in scientific evidence. We believe in our own results that are valid and reliable. Take note. He also spoke about truth. I like that. In research, our own aim is to unearth the truth. That after we have carried this systematic investigation, at the end of the day, the conclusion we get must be factual. There must be nothing but the truth. And nothing but the truth. So if your own research is inspired by your own ego or has some element of biases, definitely you are not going to arrive at the truth. Take note. So that is why today you are going to understand the system, the elements, just a few elements on research. He also said, using a particular method or methods, I like that in that definition. Using a particular method. And when you're carrying the research process, you have to use either a method or methods to arrive at a conclusion. What are those methods? We are going there. As we progress in our academic study of research, we are going to unearth the method or the methods that are used by researchers to arrive at a conclusion. Of course, Patrick H.H. Walker, in his book, The Foundations of Research, had made reference to that. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse. We are going to reach there very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, let us look at the significance of research. Having actually looked at the definition propounded by one of our scholars, Professor Joe Eddie Ali, actually, there is a necessity for us to look at the relevance. Why is it important for all students in the world, be you business student, social worker, lawyer, political scientist, why is it necessary for all those students in the world to study research? Why? And why is research relevant in society? Why is it supposed to be practiced? Why must we engage in research? What are the benefits that we derive from research? Let us just get it. 1. It is a tool for building knowledge and for facilitating learning. See that? When you want to learn in the 21st century, you want to understand, you want to widen your horizon, you want to really get new concepts, you want to understand that you have to engage in what? Research. Take note. Continuous research, investigations, scientific observations, scientific findings, sociological research. You must engage in research if you want to widen your horizon, if you want to get understanding, if you want to get new things, new ideas. So therefore, it is a tool. You see, don't forget, it is a tool that we use to get more knowledge. It is a tool that we use to get more understanding. The significance of research is research leads to progress. Oh yes. Ladies and gentlemen, research leads to progress. Years back, when we did not have so many researchers, the world was considered dark. Progress was not happening. Yet Africa, a dark continent. Now, see, the first vehicle was only introduced in Sierra Leone, Freetown to be specific, on the 28th of November 1920. I wonder how our forefathers lived. When they wanted to travel from one village to another, they walked on feet. When they wanted to make communication, they sent a messenger. These were difficult times. But now, progress has been instituted. Progress has been seen. How is this progress visible? It is visible to the blind and audible to the deaf that progress has been instituted as a result of research. Because research has made available communication. It is because of research that we have mobile phones. Every now and then we have different sets of mobile phones, different systems, different productions. And now, development is currently actualized. Every day new theories are coming up. Every day new systems of development. Every day new knowledge of ideas. Every day people are inventing technologies because they investigated, because they carried out research. And research has made the world a better place to live. Wow. What a wonderful research. Our wonderful research is. If research would have been a wife, a woman, I think I would have married research, because research is unique, beautiful, and indeed very fantastic. Now let's see another reason or benefits of research. Research leads to improvement in the quality of life. Oh yes! From the analysis I just gave now, you will see that life has become a better place, has become better because of research. Oh yes! It makes the world a better place. It makes life better. So they will have good water facilities through the application of chemicals. Who invented those chemicals? How was it done? Research. We have vehicles today. Who invented? How was it done? Research. We have a lot of technological equipment. How was it done? Look at the new method of technologies we are using to learn. Coming to YouTube, going to Facebook, going to WhatsApp. All this that is done. People who did that engage in research. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So research, indeed, leads to improvement in the quality of life. Life cannot. Today, even when the farmer has a machine, a mechanized machine, a technologically oriented machine that he now uses to construct, he now uses to harvest. Oh my goodness. Research, may God bless you. Now, it did not stop there. He said, of course, another importance of research. He said, it is an aid to business successes. Business student. Now see, if you want to engage in business, research is the only tool, a weapon that you can use to succeed. Because you will need to understand which kind of products needed in the market. How do you need to produce these products? Which brand are you going to use? How are you going to actually inculcate the spirit of all that one deserves research? So if you are a marketer, you are a banker, you are a business tycoon, an international investor, you are an entrepreneur, you must inculcate the habit of research, because that is the only roadmap. That is the only way to success. Just as the Bible says, it is the way, the truth, and the light, and no one cometh to the Father except through him. No one cometh to success without research. No businessman succeeds in research, in his business, without research. This is why it is relevant that we engage in research processes. Ladies and gentlemen, research is a way to prove lies and to support the truth. Oh yes, I like that. When somebody has said something and it is a lie, we have a way of proving it. And it is a way that we can prove what has been said is not correct. What has been said is a mere calculation or unfortunate statement. It is an economy of the truth. They have economized the truth. It is a lie. It is not correct. We can only prove that through research. And how? He said, it's prove what lies and support truth. You see that? If we prove lies, we must be able to support truth. And the only way truth can come out is through research, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yes? Another relevance of research. Research improves student achievement. I like that. How does research really improve student achievement? Achievement of students in their, for me, I cannot lie. One of the reasons or the tools that I have used to get to this level I am now is research. I like finding out. I like investigating. I like involving myself in other surveys. That is what I like. And as I like that, I think I have improved significantly. And now let me give you this advice. If you want to improve academically, focus on research. Any student who understands research understands other modules. Any student who has a wide range of knowledge in research has a wide range of knowledge in other modules. And research will help you build your academic skills. It will help to inculcate the spirit of academic in you, ladies and gentlemen. Research also provides the basis for government policies. Oh yes! Can't tell you how relevant it is. Policies instituted by government. For example, the New Direction Manifesto introduced by President Julius Malema, or any president of the world who wants to introduce any manifesto, he must have engaged in research. He must have actually focused on research, because research will help that president to succeed. Let me tell you, any policy that is brought up by government that is not informed by research will not succeed. Because it is research that will prove how the policy will be implemented, why it needs to be implemented, how it will be implemented, what are the tools needed for that policy to succeed. If this is done, this will not happen, who this policy is targeting, automatically what is needed. So investigations need to be carried out prior to even the enactment of the policy. Investigations need to be carried out prior to everything. What are the pros? What are the cons? What are the motivating factors? So you see, research. There is no policy in the world that is passed by either United Nations, by either the president of a country, by any institution that is not informed by. And that is why African institutions are falling. Because they do not value research. And if you want your institution to succeed, if you want your country to succeed, the policies you pass in that country must be informed by research. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen. We go. So government policies, of course, are informed by research. Now we say, it serves as nourishment and exercise for the mind. Or like that. When one studies research, the mind has food to eat. I always tell people that the only food that the mind needs to eat is research. Because the mind survives on things that entertains it. The minds survive on things on knowledge, and then knowledge is centered on research. The research is like a vehicle that carries the knowledge needed by students, by academics, by scholars. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, how unique research is. Like I said earlier, if research was a woman, I would have married research now. A very beautiful and unique concept. Take note. Ladies and gentlemen. Now we move on to the ways of acquiring knowledge. How do we acquire knowledge? Well, we all need to know that if we want to acquire knowledge or want to get knowledge, we need to do research. And that research that we must actually do is called the scientific research. We will move there very soon. But prior to the institution of scientific research, prior to the practice and application of scientific research, there have been other ways, other methods, of getting knowledge. And what are those ways? We are going to treat them. They are not scientific at all. Yes, you can get knowledge from them. Yes, you can be able to draw conclusions, but then they are not scientific. And as researchers, I am going to advise you today to deviate from some of those ways of acquiring knowledge. And as we focus in the research process, we should focus on it. We should not allow these non-scientific ways of acquiring knowledge to deviate our minds. These non-scientific knowledge to actually, in fact, it can serve as a distraction to our progress in the process of research. What are these ways that are scientific that people use to get knowledge? Authority. I like that. Authority. When you talk about authority, what comes in your mind? Authority does not only mean president, but any individual who knows something and sees himself as an expert in that field can be called an authority. For example, a medical doctor. Most people depend on medical advice to draw conclusions. Because they advised Fode in the hospital that when he was sick, they advised him to take Panadol so that at least his asthma can go. I'm just giving an example. Does not mean that if you have an asthma and you take that Panadol, you can heal. And medical advice sometimes cannot be applied in all cases. Maybe Fode was advised to take that medicine because he suffered from asthma. And you do not suffer from asthma now. Maybe you suffer from another disease and you want to go and take that same medicine. It's not going to work. So understanding is that authorities are not perfect. And their advice cannot be applied in all cases. And it cannot be generalized. In fact, they are liable to mistakes. Oh yes. Look at what Achebe said in his book, Things Fall Apart. I like that. Achebe said, he's an authority in literature. Let me just give you an example. He said, the lizard that falls from the high Iroko tree can praise itself if no one does. I have spent countless number of time, hours, trying to evaluate that statement. And I now arrive at the conclusion that Achebe cannot be right in all cases. Why? Because how can you say a lizard that falls from the high Iroko tree can praise itself if no one does? Now, in my own analysis, the lizard can only praise itself on two conditions. One, if the lizard falls from the high Iroko tree and lands on top of leaves, then the lizard can praise itself. Or if the lizard falls from a tree that is not tall, automatically the lizard can praise itself. But in the situation where the lizard falls from the high Iroko tree and falls on top of a rock, the lizard will not have time to praise itself. Because I believe death awaits that lizard. Or the lizard falls from a tree and they hang on top of stones. Automatically, that lizard will be hanging there dead and will not have time to praise itself. So that is why I'm saying that authority can be cautioned, and not all what they say is correct. And sometimes it cannot be generalized, and they are liable to make mistakes. You can be from the legal authority, you can be a president. Not all what they say, you can be any other authority. Somebody who is an authority in another field can also make mistakes. Another way of getting knowledge is tradition. I like that. Most of us depend on tradition and knowledge to draw conclusion, which is wrong. How can we be depending on tradition and knowledge which is not scientific? A friend of mine, whenever he is going somewhere and hit his left through, will discontinue doing it because of the superstition and knowledge and believe that he will not meet the person he's going to. That one is wrong. It is not scientific. When a woman fails to deliver in the hospital or during labor, traditionally some people will start accusing the woman that she was cheating on the husband, so she needs to actually confess, otherwise she will not deliver. Who told you that? Maybe there are other problems affecting that woman that is making that woman not to actually deliver. So sometimes it is just traditional knowledge, and sometimes people have died as a result of this. It is not scientific. So any knowledge somebody gets that is not scientifically tested, but it is from tradition, is a non-scientific way of getting knowledge, and that is misleading. So we need to avoid that when we start our research processes. When we go deep into the research process, we should avoid getting knowledge traditionally. There are other mistakes people make traditionally, conclusions they make. Imagine somebody telling you, my left eye was really shaking. Maybe, and somebody will say, maybe somebody who you actually miss that want to see you. I don't believe in those statements. And imagine somebody will be telling you my right arm was scratching, and somebody will tell you it's maybe if you want to receive money. Let's stop that one. It's not scientific. Let's go to common sense. Common sense is another way of getting knowledge, but common sense is not scientific. Why do we say so? My common sense cannot be applied in all cases. That I believe in this does not mean it is correct. What is correct in the realm of research is scientific research. And nothing, and in your research, you should not allow common sense to come into play. In your research, you should not, common sense will, if in fact it is wrong and is unethical. Take note. Another non-scientific way of getting knowledge can be personal experience. I mostly hear some ladies say, me, any man that is called John, I don't love him. But that the John who treated me was a short guy, black in complexion. My own John now is tall and in fact came from Liberia. Does that mean they are the same? And in fact, some people will tell you all men are the same. Does that mean because you are disappointed out there that all of us are the same? Don't allow me to say something. How can you say all of us are the same? Yes, you dated Brahman because he had money. And Brahman now decided to marry another lady whom they all struggle together. And they now say Brahma disappointed you. And they now claim that Brahma is, all men are the same. Okay, be careful. The same thing for men. So, sometimes some people use their personal experience to generalize. And personal experience cannot be generalized. And in the research process, we should try as hard as possible not to generalize personal experience. Why? Because personal experience is not scientific. Personal experience lacks the validity and reliability. It does not have the research ingredients to certify it to become credible. Take note. So, intuition. Some people have their instincts. They will believe their instincts. Maybe sometimes they will just be sitting down and begin to foresee things and say them. They are not scientific. Even those who dream and interpret their dream and claim that this will happen in the next 5 days, it's not scientific. So your instinct or whatsoever sometimes can be cautioned. So a lot of other things can come up. And one thing I want you to know at this point as you progress, is that research is based on science. And anything that is not scientific is not research oriented. And as we progress today, I'm laying the foundation for you to understand that yes, we are about to start research. We have not started yet. We are about to start research. But when we start research, these are misleading statements. These are concepts that are misleading. They can actually ensure that somebody missed the concept. Somebody gets a wrong conclusion, and then it is a problem that we must avoid as researchers. Take note. Errors in personal inquiries. What are the errors in personal inquiries? These inquiries we are doing now that are personal, common sense, authority, tradition, culture, all of them are personal inquiries. What are the errors that we get from them? One, inaccurate observation. Oh yes, the observation that we make there are always inaccurate. They are not correct. Again, overgeneralization. Like somebody saying all men are the same. In fact, we have errors in research. This is what we call, ignorantia elenchi, the fallacy of missing the point. How can you overgeneralize? It's a fallacy of hasty generalization, a fallacy of hasty conclusion. These are all things that can disturb the research process. How can you sit in your house and assume that this and this, in fact, all politicians are criminals? Oh, that statement needs to be verified. That statement lacks some element of truth. Not all politicians can be criminals. We have to be careful with some of the generic statements we give. And personal inquiries can lead to overgeneralization. It can lead to selective generalization. It can lead to another problem that is with personal inquiry is ego involvement errors. When we begin to do inquiries, one thing we have is ego involvement. I get in that. Ego involvement is saying, because of my ego, because of my personal instinct, my personal value, I tend to use it in the research process, which is wrong. For example, a VI carrying out a research to know which tribe is the best may decide to put VI as the best because of his own personal value, which is wrong. Don't allow your personal instincts, don't allow your value, don't allow any other thing to interfere into your research. Bring out a credible result and ensure that you bring out a conclusion. In fact, this mostly even happens in scientific research. Some people tend to bring their ego, and when ego involvement comes in, it's an error in your inquiry. When you overgeneralize in your inquiry, even if it is scientific, definitely it becomes a problem. So inaccurate observation, even if you are about to carry out scientific observation, but if you actually it can become inaccurate as well. And most of the research that are not scientifically oriented, wrong conclusions are always drawn. And these wrong conclusions are misleading. These wrong conclusions can bring issues. This wrong conclusion can bring problems for the researcher. We have to be careful in that. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the attributes or the characteristics or the features of a good research. When we start research or when we are doing research, what are the characteristics, what are the features of a good research? One, ethical principles. We are going to treat a topic as we progress called ethical principles. And these ethics, of course, is from a Latin word ethos. But I will not go there today. Ladies and gentlemen, however, ethical principles are the underlying principles of the research process. They are the ones that can make your research credible. And any researcher must ensure that in his research, he maintains key ethical principles. We are going to trust as confidentiality, protection of participants, honesty, but we are going there. I don't want to mix matters. So, ethical principle is key. And any research that is not ethically oriented is not a good research. So, therefore, we must ensure that our research is credible, our research is ethically informed before ever we publish it. Now, of course, intellectual curiosity. For any research you do, there are reference cases. Consult individuals who are of essence. Consult individuals who are significant, who are relevant, who can contribute knowledge, and later on reference. Do not fabricate. You have to be careful because these are very serious concerns. Ladies and gentlemen, honesty in research is another good attribute of a good research. Be honest, tell the truth, don't lie. Of course, we're going to treat that one as part of our ethical principles. Reliability and validity. Reliability in research is a concept that upholds and maintains the view that research, if it is true and correct, definitely can be done again and again, and the same result can always be arrived at. So therefore, if at least your research should be reliable, it should be dependable, it should be there to stand the test of time, it must be there to always be valid. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that today's lecture has been very inspiring and it has laid a platform for our understanding on the concept of research. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you enjoyed today's lecture, and if you do, waste no time. Share the video, tell your colleagues, share to your colleagues so that they can understand, and don't waste your time. Go to my YouTube channel on Francis K. Doumbouya. Just go at Francis K. Doumbouya and go to don't forget, if you want to be getting subsequent videos from me, click the subscribe button. Make no mistake, by clicking that subscribe button, you'll be getting notifications for all the subsequent lectures that I'll be delivering, not only on research, but on other concepts that are related to academics. Make no mistake about it, and I know you enjoyed the lecture. Click the subscribe button. God bless you. Thank you very much.